Hello and welcome to Revise GCSE History. In this video today we're going to look at the natural beliefs and treatments of prehistoric man. This is the third and final video in the topic of prehistoric medicine. So firstly, to start us off, what did prehistoric people die from? There's a list here of things that prehistoric people died from. So warfare, pregnancy, childbirth, infection, famine and food shortages. So they're just 5 things you need to be aware of how prehistoric people could die. Warfare, pregnancy, childbirth, infection, famine and food shortages. Okay. So, what were some of the natural treatments used by prehistoric man? Modern Aboriginal medicine, which we use to find out about prehistoric people and their beliefs about disease, combines basic practical methods like setting broken bones. So, sorry, I'm just going to choose a thicker colour. Setting broken bones and bandaging, so there's 2 natural things, with spiritual explanations. So there's a combination of practical methods like setting broken bones and bandaging, and also spiritual explanations such as the gods and evil spirits. There are 2 types of healers, medicine men and women. They're the 2 healers in prehistoric times. There we are. And medicine men were important in prehistoric tribes as they could deal with the spirits. That's why they were so important. They could deal with the spirits. Whoops, sorry about that. Women were in charge of everyday health and knew about herbs. They knew about the healing power of herbs. For everyday ailments with an obvious cause, they had a range of simple, effective remedies based on observation and common sense. So, women would deal with day-to-day health of their families using herbs and common sense methods like setting broken bones, bandaging, stuff like that. Okay, so prehistoric surgery. Trephining is the cutting of holes in people's heads. So trephining operations were carried out by prehistoric people. And what they would do, they would get a rock or something and whack it into somebody's skull to create a hole. Such as here, you can see there's a skull with this hole in it here. Can you see here? There's a hole in the skull there. There's a few holes actually. And those holes may have been the result of a trephining operation. So if someone wasn't feeling very well, if somebody had a headache for example, they'd go to someone who'd get a piece of stone and hit a hole in the head, and they said that this would release evil spirits, or it had been known to grant special powers of communication with the spirit world, hence healing the person. So there are trephining operations. So it's the cutting of holes in people's heads. Skulls have been found that show people often survived the operation. So they often survived the operation because the bone grew back around the hole. Trephining may have been done to allow evil spirits out. So it's a way of treating someone if they became ill, to allow evil spirits out, or to grant special powers of communication with the spirit world. So there are 2 reasons why it might have been done. 1, evil spirits out. 2, special powers of communication with the spirit world. A trephining operation may have been carried out to cure a prehistoric person of epilepsy or headache. So they are that's the key element of surgery that was carried out by a prehistoric man. And whilst, so let's just go back to that. Whilst we don't know exactly why they may have been carried out, the modern Aborigines give us these ideas as a pretty good guess as to why they were carried out. So that's the end of this video really. Here are just a few quick questions quick knowledgeable questions on the context of the video, you may wish to pause the video here and jot yourself down some answers. If not, carry on watching and we'll go through the answers together. Okay. So, question 1. Name 2 things that prehistoric people died from. Well, there are lots of answers you could have here. You could have warfare, infection. I'm just going to list a few that you could add. Food shortages or famine. So, famine. Pregnancy. Oh, sorry, that's not very good, that, is it? Pregnancy. And also childbirth. They're the 5 things we talked about earlier on in the video. And any possible answers from those. Okay. Question 2. Name 2 prehistoric healers and describe their role. Well, the first was the medicine man. And the second was women, or the head of the family. So they used herbs and also common sense methods. Common sense. Medicine man, they dealt with the spirit world. Dealt with spirits. Give a natural treatment of illness used by prehistoric people. A natural treatment of illness used by prehistoric people. So, Trephining operations, although you could argue they are natural to some extent, they're mostly supernatural, because we knocking holes in people's heads to release evil spirits. That's what people may have done them for. So give a natural treatment. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about setting broken bones. They use mud casts to set broken bones, just as we do today, but we don't use mud. We use plaster. Using mud casts and bandaging. There's some possible answers you could have. Herbs and potions were used. General, just common sense. What were Trephining operations and why were they carried out by prehistoric people? So Trephining is the cutting, well, more bashing really, cutting of holes in people's heads. Oops, supposed to be an apostrophe. And they were carried out. One reason was to remove evil spirits. And second reason, if I can just squeeze it in, contact spirit world. I don't know if that'll just squeeze in at the bottom. Not that tidy. When I do the notes, I'll have to tidy that up. There are the answers to the quick 4 quiz questions. That's the end of the video today on natural beliefs and treatments used by prehistoric man, and actually the last video in the series of prehistoric medicine. Next up in this series is Egyptian medicine. Thanks for watching. See you soon.